Remote control Batman! Hello and welcome back to Building Boys. Now I have issue 40 of Hachette's Build the Batmobile Tumbler, and in this one we are building the remote control. So finally we're doing something that isn't wires, which is lovely. It is a very small build, but what we're going to do at the end of this one is we are going to be testing all of the electrics that we have put together so far with the remote control. So we're going to find out the remote control works, we're going to find out the electrics work. You will need the following. You will need 8 AAA batteries, which is quite a lot, I appreciate. You are also going to need a CR2032 lithium cell battery, button battery, big one, to make your remote control work. Here's something important to remember. Once you've done this, take your lithium cell battery out of your remote control. Do not leave the lithium cell battery in the remote control, because I don't know if this thing's just draining battery. Part-work remote controls have got a nasty habit of just being on all the time and draining battery, waiting for a command, waiting for a trigger. So take the battery out. It does need to be in there. Take the battery out until you need to use your electrics again. Otherwise, you just find yourself with a dead battery. And worst case scenario, a leaked battery. You don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this remote control put together. We're going to put the batteries in, and we are going to go through the full test of testing all of these electrics to make sure they all work and what you can do if they don't work. At the end of this one, we'll be having our bat chat. We'll be talking about a very dark movie that came out before, the final DC movie that came out before the Nolan trilogy arrived. It did really well. Again, unexpected hit, and it's what's led us to some more of the darker properties that we've received in the superhero movies. But we'll talk about that one at the end. Without further ado, let's get this one open. Let's get this one built. Okay, so here is issue number 40. This is what we get on the side, and we are building the remote control. It's nice to have a remote control. I don't know why we've got to build our own, but that's what they've chosen us to do. Right. So this is quite simple. I mean, this all just sort of clips together, really. So these are these parts here. There's the battery holder, and there's the actual control. Right. I don't look right. Mine already looks busted. We'll find out if that is the case in a minute, but mine already looks like it's broke. That's not good, but we'll see. Right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to place this part down here, and take in this section here. We're going to pop this over there like so. Make sure these buttons go through. Make sure it's all in where it needs to be. So that's simple. Then we are going to take our remote control and making sure it's this way up. We're going to pop this one over. Now there will be a hole, so you'll know if you're up the right way or not, because it's going to go through it. Let's line this up. There we go. So that's where that one goes. And the next thing I'm going to do is take the back. And the back is going to pop over like so. And we're going to squeeze this one together. So that's that together. And then we have our battery compartment here. Now we're going to take our button cell battery like so. So this is a 2032, and it's going to go in that way round. Oop. Just go in there like that. That way around. There we go. So that is the remote control put together. There we are. Happy with that. So that's our remote control. Now, will it work? Not a clue. So what we're going to do is we're going to get some AAA batteries. We're going to load up the battery box to the wires. I'm going to go through each of these different modes. Now you can see what we've got there. So we've got headlights, spotlight, jet boost, left, right, spoiler, cockpit, dashboard light, and cannon. So all of these are going to do something. Now, naturally, some of these aren't wired up, so you're going to hear a motor whir and buzz. But we'll see exactly what it does. And hopefully all these wires work. we're all wired up and we're all battered up. Now, when you put the batteries in, certain motors are just going to start rotating on their own. Pressing the switch that it tells you to press will stop that from happening. And the reason for that is eventually these switches are going to be in place and held in place. So the idea being is a door will open, which will open a switch, will trigger something else. So don't panic if you put batteries in your motor start running. That's normal, that's expected. So let's go through our buttons here. So we've got headlights. There we go. So we have headlights there. And I've got more headlights here. And I've got more headlights over here. So happy, headlights are working. Right, let's turn those off. And then we have got spotlights. So that should be this. It is, and there's the other one as well. So spotlights work, good. Jet boost, now one would imagine, okay, that's just on. Okay, right. So that's what we get from the jet boost, and then you press the button to turn it off. Okay. Then we have got left. Okay, so that's this motor over here. This is the steering motor, so we're going to turn the wheels with the remote control. So we're going to go left and right, left, right, that works. Okay, spoiler. I've just pressed the Canon button. There you go, that's the spoiler one going. Okay, so spoiler's over here. Now that's going to keep going until you use the switch to turn it off. So let's use the correct switch to get that off. I don't remember which bloody switch it is. That one. There we go. And then we have cockpit. Okay, so yeah, that makes sense. So there's a cockpit and then a motor goes off. Yeah, that all makes sense. But you can see as I'm turning these motors off, the other motors turn on. Because again, the switches will... There we go. And now another one's going. This is nuts. When it's there's that one going. Right. So there's that, no, dashboard light. There we go. So dashboard lights work. And then finally Canon. I don't think there's a light for the Canon. And as far as I can see, there's no motor sounds. We've got the jet boost. So we're happy with that. So that's headlights. Let's put it all on. Headlights, spotlights. Headlights, spotlights, jet boost. We'll have that on as well. Let's have dashboard lights on. Find a Canon. Yeah, we're happy with that. Okay, good. Good stuff. Right, perfect. Happy. Right, it's all working. Let's have a chat. That one done. Now, it's a little confusing when you first put the batteries in. Some of the motors will just start going, and then you have to sequentially press the switches. That'll stop one motor, start another one. That will stop that one and start another one. The reason for that is these are ultimately what are going to operate the cockpit. And so the cockpit's going to work is it slides and then slides again. So what will happen is it will slide, shut a set of switches off, will turn two more switches on, and then it will... So that's what's going to happen. So that's why you'll press the cockpit button a second time and nothing will happen. And the reason why is because you put all those switches into the off position is you've got to go back around all the switches again, and then it will work again. That's how that works. Take your batteries out. There is no reason to leave batteries in any of this because it's going to be a while before we have to put the batteries back in again. Coming next, we have the steering rack. It's not wires, it's got me happy, right? So we have a steering rack coming next, but I can tell you, we've also getting the chassis. So the next one we're getting the chassis, we're getting the left cage, the right cage, we're getting a bulkhead. So we're starting to build the actual vehicle. Now, the reason why I think we've done what we've done is what I've said before in the past, is I think rather than a traditional build where we take a frame and attach it to a chassis, I think what we're doing is we are building around it. So I think we're probably going to put the cockpit on the chassis and then build the cage around the cockpit. I think that's what we're doing. I might be wrong, but I think that's what we're going to be doing. And we'll see. But it'll be interesting to find out. But it means we're not getting more wires. So the next one, we are building car. So we're moving on to the chassis, the cage, it'll be good. All right, so we're happy with that. No more wires. That's a beautiful thing. We're done with the electrics. Whew. And now we finally have some car, because it's nearly a year we've been building this. Now, you might think you haven't got a lot to show for your year's worth. That's not true. If you get it all out and you look exactly what you've had over the past year, you've done all right. So, I mean, we've got all of these wires here, which are a massive mess of motors and lights and widgets and ding-dongs and who's my fudges and doodads. Loads of it. And we've got the remote control. You've got the entire front axle of the car is built. We've started the steering mechanism for that. We've built the entirety of the cockpit. We've built both the chairs. We've built the dashboard. We've done a lot. We have. It might not feel like it because of all these bloody wires, but realistically, that's quite a chunk for a year. And next year is going to be full steam ahead, because we moved on to chassis and actual body of car now. By this time next year, we're going to have a very impressive Tumbler. And this is what I've said to people: don't give up. Stick with it, because I can see this one winning awards for, worst part work of the year this year, which I think is completely unfair. I just do, because this is necessary. It's not fun, but it's necessary work. It just is. We're always going to have to do this. And I wish they'd done it in a different way, where instead of doing all this right now, we'd have done one of the chairs, 2 wires, right? And then 2 wires, a bit of the wheel. You know what I mean? And then just sort of mix it up a little bit. I think that would have been a lot better than just, here is 12 weeks of wire. I think that's a lot. That's a lot to ask of anybody, but it is what it is, and it's over now. And now we're moving on to the big chunks of car. And we're going to start having some Batmobile, finally. Beautiful, beautiful thing. If you just stick around for our build instruction, thank you for stopping by. Please remember to like and subscribe. Helps the channel massively, and we really appreciate your support. If you stick around for our Bat Chat, well, it's the last one before the Nolan trilogy, so we'll be talking Nolan trilogy next month. But this one was the last DC movie to come before the Nolan trilogy. Now, Catwoman has just done more damage to the DC Batman legacy. This one was going to pull it back a little bit. It's not a Batman movie. It's not related to any of the Batman characters at all, but it was a DC Comics property. It was dark. It was well received with test audiences in the October, November, December, before it was released in January of 2005, a good 6 months before Batman came out. So when there was pressure, do we make Batman lighter? No, because this one showed people want dark, and it was this. Constantine. Now, if you haven't seen it, Constantine's actually a fantastic movie. It's really good. It's about a man that it's his life's mission to avoid going to hell, send as many demons back as he possibly can. And he's basically like a badass exorcist. It's a great movie. It's a really good movie. It sets up a nice world with angels and demons, and it's really good. Really, really good. And it hit big, and they didn't think it would. It wasn't a runaway success by any means, and Warner Brothers being Warner Brothers, because it didn't make like $1 billion, instantly assumed it was a failure. It wasn't. It's a really good movie. It works. It works on all levels. And the darkness of it basically told them people want dark. They like dark. Which helped the Nolan trilogy, because at that point there were flags up like, do we make this camper? Do we make this more fun? Do we make this more slapsticky? Do we put more humour in it? Because this is before the Marvel Cinematic Universe hasn't kicked in yet. So Batman Begins preceded the Cinematic Universe by 2 years. Had Marvel been doing great guns at this point, I would imagine we'd have had a very, very different Batman release this year. But it wasn't. So the field was kind of open. The only one that was really running things was Spider-Man. So Spider-Man had been released. Spider-Man 2 had been released as well. So they clearly wanted to get back in the game. And Christopher Nolan had his Dark Knight trilogy coming our way. And they didn't have a lot of faith in it. So it didn't have a humongous budget at all, Batman Begins. And they weren't convinced it was going to do big box office. It did moderate box office, but we'll talk about that in the next one. But Constantine's darkness really showed that there is an audience for these things. There was an audience for a more adult take on a superhero. And Constantine's not a superhero as such, but he's a comic book property. But you could see with shows and whatnot around at the time, there was another audience that wants something a little edgier, a little darker. That's exactly what they were about to get. But it owes a lot. And this is one of those things. It's kind of like Blade. It's one of those forgotten, so it is a comic book property. And it blazed a trail. It set the ground for a lot of other movies, and Constantine did that. It's not revealed as this great movie or anything, but it basically showed, as a piece of market research, It did fantastically well, and it did a lot for us. That's why we got a lot of darker comic book movies. So now you know. That's all for this one. In the next one, we'll be talking Batman Begins. So we're finally going to see whether Tumbler makes it to the big screen in time to start building our chassis and our frame and a few wonderful things. That should be coming. It should be coming the 22nd of December. But with Christmas the way it is, it might be after Christmas, I don't know. So don't hold your breath. But it should be here before New Year's. So we hopefully will see you later in the month for more of the DC Tumbler. If not, we've got a ton of stuff coming up on the channel. Swing by, check us out. There's always something worth watching. We are uploading at least once a day throughout the entirety of December. So there will be about 50 videos through December. So there's bound to be something you'll like. If you haven't yet, please remember to like and subscribe. You can contact us at buildingtheboys@outlook.com if you have any questions, queries, or you'd like to ask me anything. That's all from me in the world. We can be anything at all. Just be nice. Remember, till next time, Gotham needs us.